this is over. The US and China find themselves locked up in a tight competition when it comes to technology. One important area we need to pay attention when it comes to this competition is the smartphone segment, specifically the software side of things. The world smartphone software ecosystem has been dominated and is still being dominated by American tech brands, being iOS and Android. And it is already a known fact that Chinese smartphone makers want to move away from their reliance on software architecture coming from the US for their own strategic reasons, taking a look at the current ongoing trade and tech war between the US and China. But as of 2025, Chinese smartphone brands still rely heavily on the use of the Android ecosystem, both in China and at a global level. In the Chinese market alone, Android holds over 70% market share. So what happens if these Chinese companies eventually get banned from doing business with Google? Bear in mind that Google currently owns the Android ecosystem. So if this were to happen in any moment from now or in the near future, major Chinese smartphone manufacturers such as Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo could see their business operations coming to a total halt, especially at the global level. As a result of these concerns, major Chinese smartphone makers are trying very hard to break away and reduce their reliance on the Android ecosystem. Per a number of reports, Xiaomi is currently developing a new version of their own in-house mobile operating system, which is the HyperOS 3. And one unique thing about this version of the OS is that this version of the operating system excludes Google services entirely, which therefore means that this version of the OS does not contain the Android source code and therefore will not support the Android-based applications. Aside this, it is also believed that Xiaomi is not doing this alone, but they are currently doing this in collaboration with Huawei and other brands such as Oppo, Vivo, and OnePlus to create a standalone operating system independent of the Google services. I'm not too surprised to see Huawei involved in this, for reason being that Huawei has already been able to cut ties with Android by developing their own operating system, which is a Harmony operating system. So we can conclude that Xiaomi is just following the steps of Huawei when it comes to their OS strategy. The reason behind this move Xiaomi is making is to ensure that they have a standalone operating system they can rely on if in case they lose access to the Android ecosystem in the near future. Taking a look at how Huawei was equally blacklisted from doing business with Google, which led to Huawei losing access to the Android ecosystem. So the question is, will Xiaomi be rolling out this version of the HyperOS to Xiaomi smartphone users around the world any moment soon? In my view, the answer to this question is a big no. The challenge for Xiaomi lies in the fact that it is very difficult to compete at the global level without Google services, for reasons being that if Xiaomi shifts away fully from the Android ecosystem, they will lose access to Google apps such as YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps, and the Play Store, and other essential Google services. The bigger problem here is also the fact that most Android users rely heavily on these apps and services provided by Google. So for now, I believe Xiaomi will have to hold on when it comes to the rollout of the HyperOS version 3 until they find a lasting solution to this problem. But in China, Xiaomi will not have many challenges in rolling out this operating system, since in China, Google services are not even used. So, what is the bigger picture here? In my view, Xiaomi's move is part of the broader trend, as most Chinese tech firms in the long term are looking for ways and means to reduce their dependence on Western technology so as to avoid any future disruption that may occur due to geopolitical issues between China and the US. So, what is your take on this? Do you think Xiaomi is being too ambitious over here, or they are making the right move? And do you think any Chinese smartphone manufacturer can survive the competition at a global level without relying on Google services and the Android ecosystem? Kindly let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you find this content informative, kindly don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my next updates. See you in the next one. I'm out.